This is my chest of drawers. No, it's not. This is my bedside table. And this is where I keep all the books that I am still reading, that I started but haven't finished. So let's have a look and see what I've got on the go. So obviously it's a mess. Maybe I should tidy it first. Okay, we're looking a little better on top. Still, what a bit of a junkyard under here. Evidently a bit of a AirPods graveyard. This is a deodorant refill. Also a bit of a charger, plugs, phone graveyard as well. So my loop earplugs packet. Okay, we're gonna need to tidy up a bit more. Okay, so these are all the books that I found in or on around my bedside table. One of them was under the bed. Now one of my cats wants to come in. Sorry guys. Yeah, we know, you're here. Oh wait, just watch till she knocks the camera over. What is it? Noodle, darling. So first up, this is like a pamphlet journal. It's about the kind of history of labour movements and worker movements in my city. Picked this up in a local bookshop. I have read part of it and then I've obviously put it in there, and to be honest, I forgot about it, but it's interesting. I will come back to it in bits and pieces. Second one is a book which is both in English and Italian. So I do speak some Italian, my partner's Italian, but I only learned Italian through conversation and spending time with his family and spending time over there. So I've never studied Italian and I struggle with reading and writing. So the good thing about this book is that they're all short stories, and some of them are really short as well. So you can see here, this one, it's got it in both Italian on one side and then English in the other side. So what I tried to do is read in Italian, but I'm able to kind of flick back and forth and keep checking, because often I can understand all the words in the sentence in Italian, but I've actually completely misunderstood the meaning. So I use that as a check. Now, the last time I read this was last summer when we were in Italy, and probably I'm going to pick it up again the next time we go there, because I just feel like it's easier to read when I'm already immersed in the language. But this is good. The stories that I read so far in there were really, really nice ones. I'm trying to remember how far I got. Yeah, I know. I think I read maybe the first 4 or 5 stories, and there are 10 stories, so maybe halfway through, and most of them are pretty short as well. So we'll come back to this one. This one is another journal. It's called Weird Walk. Again, picked it up in a local bookshop. It's actually a few years old, this issue. And so I quite like folk horror. And this journal is all about kind of weird places and journeys in the British Isles. So it has some kind of extracts, it has interviews, it has reports. So here, for example, Pan's Library, the folk horror impulse in children's literature. Little articles like that. So this is the edition from Samhain 2021, and this is really cool. I really liked this. I'd never heard of this journal before, but I really enjoyed reading it. So I think I have actually read this cover to cover. So this one is finished. Next up, I have a few bookmarks that were also in there. This is a little lino cut print that my partner did, which is cool. Keep them. Now, next we've got 2 books from the same series published by the British Library. Now, I believe that my partner did a subscription at some point to these stories because suddenly many of them appeared in our house and I don't know where they came from. So they're all like horror anthologies, short story collections, and they are thematic. So this one is Cornish horror, so all the short stories, gothic tales from Cornwall, and this one is called The Wayfarer's Weird Wild Tales of Uncanny Rambles, and this one is my favourite because it's edited by Weird Walk. So it's edited by the people that do this journal. So I do find these collections a bit hit and miss, partly because often there's a lot of stories in there that I've already read and even own somewhere else in another collection, so I feel kind of begrudge paying for it in a new form. I do like that they're organised thematically. So this one, all these tales are about different walks, like that's the theme of it, and I like that. But some of the stories themselves are a bit hit and miss. This one's generally quite good. The Cornish one, I started it and I didn't like the first story and I think I put it back down. But I will pick it up again. I'll come back to it. And they're stories from a range of different times as well. So some older than others. And yeah, I just find these collections a bit variable. So I really like this one. Haven't really gotten into this one yet. I probably haven't really given it a chance yet, but I will, I promise. So that's those 2. Next up, this is called The Autists, Women on the Spectrum. It's a bit difficult to read there. It's by an author called Clara Turnvall, who is Swedish. I don't usually read non-fiction books in my sort of reading for pleasure, because I read non-fiction all the time for work, and I tend to want a bit of escapism. Noodle, don't do it. She now wants to start eating one of my houseplants. Noodle. So I tend not to read non-fiction, but I just saw this in a bookshop when we were away a few months ago. This was before I got my diagnosis, but after I had my assessment. So I thought I'd pick it up, and I actually quite like it. Like, you can see that I'm nearly finished with it. It's quite easy to read. It's quite, it's not dense. And the author moves between talking about her own experiences as an autistic woman, including assessment, things from her childhood, and she moves between that sort of personal narrative and between that and discussing research about autism, especially historical research and how our knowledge about autism has developed over the years and changed. And she also has interviewed people for the book as well. So it includes kind of accounts of the people that she's met and their experiences and things like that. And the chapters are organized. Chapters are organized again by theme. So the one that I'm in at the moment is about school and work, and how autism shapes those experiences. So nearly finished with that one. Quite enjoyed that so far. Next we have got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, obviously a classic in the horror genre. Now, I read this when I was a kid, but it was, I don't know if they do these anymore, but Ladybird Books used to have a series of classic horror, and they were kind of like versions for children. So probably targeted at kids from around the age of 8 to 12 maybe. So they were short versions of those stories. So I had Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, God, that was terrifying, Dracula, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was one of those. So I picked this up in a charity shop or a book exchange, I can't really remember, and I think I read like the first couple of pages and then I've put it down, and again I've just forgotten it was there, because if it goes inside the bedside table, that place just becomes a graveyard of forgotten items, as you saw earlier. So again, I would like to read this in its full original version, and I might pop it on top of my bedside table so I have a visual reminder of it, because if I can't see it, it kind of ceases to exist. And then the last book in here is a novel by Daphne du Maurier, who's a favourite writer of mine, and it's called My Cousin Rachel. Now, I started this and I liked it, and I think I got quite far into it. At some point, I've lost my page, and I can't remember exactly where I was up to, maybe about a quarter of the way through. And again, it's just become a forgotten book, unfortunately. What I do tend to do is the ones that I'm actively reading, I try to keep them downstairs by the door or in my backpack, so that when I'm out and about, say waiting for an appointment, on the bus, on the train somewhere, when I'm traveling, I'll whip them out. And that's when I'm most likely to read, is when I'm out and about, waiting or traveling. I tend not to read that much at home. I just don't have like the headspace for it often. I'm just not in the mood to do it for whatever reason. So that one is one that I will enjoy. In fact, when I was reading it before, it was when I was traveling and going around. So this one probably needs to go back downstairs in the backpack, and then it's there. And that is how I've ended up reading so much of The Autists, is because it was downstairs and I was taking it around with me. So that is all the books that were in the bedside table that I have read in varying degrees. Let's pop them there for now. Oh, did I just lose another bookmark? I think I've just lost my place in one of them. A bookmark fell out. Never mind. Those are all the books that I'm reading at the moment. You can see they don't really fit into... they don't all fit into one genre. We've got fiction, non-fiction, horror, other types of short stories, novels, quite a mix. That is generally what I read. So I'd love to know how many books you've got going at the moment. Are you like me? Do you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books and 2 journals on the go? Or do you just read one book at a time, and can you finish it in a linear fashion? I'd love to hear about that, because I never really seem to be able to do that. Those are all the books that I'm reading at the moment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!